Hello, and welcome to the Pink Sofa Hour. I'm your host, Pedro, and I am joined here today by Sturtz. Hello.
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 How are you guys doing today?
Good. Very good.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm happy that you're here.
Thank you.
How's your day been so far?
We played a good amount of board games.
Yeah, we had a big board game morning.
And
Man.
yeah.
You guys are already starting off right on my vibe.
That's been weirdly consistent for January and February at this point.
That's kind of what we do in the winter.
That's awesome. What board game did you play today?
Wingspan.
For all you bird watchers out there.
That's an absolute classic. I've played that game.
It's great.
Probably
Good
like
game.
over 10 times.
Yeah. We're hitting weird numbers now,
Yep.
but yeah.
We maybe won't talk about how many times we've played that game.
Do you guys go for like the egg strategy or more of like a diverse like
Good
the
question.
egg strat is so strong.
So the egg strat is great. I commonly am overdeveloping the strategy. And then I find myself needing to desperately get points, and so I'll play 7-point, 8-point, or 9-point plus birds.
Huge birds.
Just to
Just the
like
biggest
barely
birds.
get in. And normally I lose by about 8 points, which I think is respectable.
I feel like we've really started this interview on a great note.
Such a
this is fun. But I do have to ask about some other stuff.
Yes, yeah, fine. But I like Wingspan, so.
Sturtz.
Yes.
That's your last name.
That's my last name.
But your first name
Andrew.
and
Cortland.
magnificent. and Sturtz is of course not just you two. We have Will on the bass and Jim on the banjo. Unfortunately, Will got sick, so he was unable to join us today. But I think that we've got the real core foundations of the Sturtz sound here. So I'm super stoked that you guys have been able to make it.
Oh, we're so happy to be here. Yeah, this is great.
So how'd you guys get started playing music? And you can answer these questions individually or as a group if you'd like.
Oh, wow.
A group.
Well, Cortland and I obviously started both when we were 8 years old together.
This is not true.
Yeah, I had started playing music. I mean, my dad played a lot of guitar growing up, and so I just fell in love with music and was singing around the dishwasher constantly and putting dishes away and singing. And then it became guitar, and from then on, I just, as I think anyone does, learns Beatles songs, among other things. And then, I guess from there, like, I think my first show was at a coffee shop that's now called Big B in Michigan. That was, I think, like 7th grade or 8th grade was my first show.
No way.
And I remember playing like Jimi Hendrix, and then I had on my first show of, my life, I had a string break, which was like pretty classic. I was like, it got me ready. I had Callus to start.
Immediately.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, this is pretty tricky. But yeah, so that kind of kicked things off, and then you meet all the musical people that you want in high school and all that stuff. So I was in choir and sang a lot. Went through the whole drama school thing, choir thing, music thing, and then went to college, and yeah. So music to me, I guess, is just always family oriented. I pretty, if not always playing instruments, just very music forward, even just like listening and appreciation, family. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, I'd say when I hear a voice that sounds as at your level that has that much agility, it's like that person had to have started singing around the dishwasher or
A lot.
or else.
Yeah, it was In Sync was huge, and I decided that I needed to try so hard to be Justin Timberlake.
Well, you made it.
Yeah, listen. So yeah.
Corlin, how'd you get into the cello?
I was brought to a lot of symphony concerts as a child, and I guess always kind of gravitated toward the cello, and so then middle school orchestra came around and I started playing the cello.
Nice.
And I played classical for a really long time. Kind of took a little break there for a couple of years. My cello teacher passed away when I was in high school, which was kind of a slow cello moment for me. But started up again in college, and then I went to an open mic night in college at Upslope and played.
Oh, you grew up here.
No, this was in college. I grew up in Grand Junction.
Yeah. Okay. You guys are both Michiganders? No, wait. Grand Junction, not Grand
Colorado.
Rapids.
Yeah. Almost in Utah,
Yeah.
but in Colorado. Yeah, and I went to an open mic night at Upslope because I heard if you played music for 15 minutes, you would get a free beer, and I was like, that sounds fun. So I played the Bach cello suites for Upslope.
Wow. I'm sure people loved that. Was that the Lee Hill location?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was great. I met a bunch of musicians, and that's how I started playing with singer-songwriters, and then later moved into this band.
Shout out Wilson Harwood.
Yeah.
Wilson, like,
And
leader.
Aya, too.
And Aya.
Yeah.
Very good. I think the cello is one of my favorite instruments. My sister played the cello when I was in high school, and I was
Nice.
always a little jealous. Yeah.
I mean, it's a good choice.
A little jealous.
Thank you, I was about to say.
So, you're from Colorado. That's super cool. You went to college in Boulder.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you come to Colorado?
So I got here, I know the exact date, and I don't know why I've kept this date in mind, but I got here June 26, 2015. I arrived in Colorado.
The grand debut.
The grand debut. I stayed at a La Quinta Inn for...
Great pronunciation.
Thank you.
Every time we're on tour, I just need to interrupt for a second. Every time we're on tour and we pass a La Quinta, Andrew goes,
Okay.
La Quinta!
I love a La Quinta. I don't know what's so bad. They have great, the places I've stayed have great
I love that
pronunciation.
pronunciation.
La Quinta.
Let's get it all
Yeah.
the way. Come on.
But, like,
I
you
feel like
gotta
you really
kind
held
of
back.
yell it at your bandmates.
But I stayed there for a solid 4 days, and it was great. Really lovely. And then I finally found my spot, yeah.
And what brought you here to Colorado?
So I, at that point, it's funny, you know, I feel like I talk about this sometimes, but I don't, not a lot, but it's like, it's kind of funny how Gregory Alan Isaacoff was a big influence in Chicago, but also kind of led me as a musician to a place that's not so surrounded by concrete, I guess. And so to me, I was listening to that on the L, going to work or going to wherever, and you know, as people do in transportation, fall asleep to it as well.
Yeah.
And barely make your stop. But I think a big thing was moving here for the open space, quote unquote, and my sister had moved here, so I was just very stoked to like go somewhere that was just not, you know, Chicago is every Midwesterner's like, I'm in the big city.
It's like the Mecca, yeah.
Yeah, and so you're like, everyone's got to make their way that way, and so
Right.
it felt like more like the real move coming here. Yeah, so kind of a place I actually wanted to be.
Yeah. You got to choose what's most important to you, and if nature forms a big part of what it is that you enjoy, then
Oh yeah.
you're in the right place. Colorado's got a lot of beautiful nature. And
Yeah.
Boulder, Longmont, all these spots, like you could see mountains you have to pay quite a bit of money for if you were anywhere else, probably.
Well, yeah, and I think, you know, I think that's what's funny now is like, you know, as a kid you don't realize how surrounded by nature you are in Michigan. You know, shout out Michigan. Actually an amazing outdoor space, especially up north. Yeah, but going back to coming here was a yeah. I mean, I like that vibe, but I knew that Colorado had the better music scene as well. So
We've got better winters too.
winters, but I do like a winter. It's tricky for me.
The humidity up there can be kind of gnarly.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've got somebody in the chat who's from Detroit right now, actually. Phil Minnick.
Oh, nice.
He's a great guy. But
Great.
Traverse City,
Yeah.
that is a really unique spot. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Lots of boats. Lots of boating.
Did you say lots of bugs?
Boats.
Oh God, I was like, there are
There
some
are
bugs.
There are- oh yeah, they've got crazy bugs.
There are lots of boats.
in Michigan.
Yeah, it is
Did you do
shocking.
any boating growing up?
I did, yeah. I mean, we had like a camouflage boat. Like it looked like it like went to war, you know. And it was like it was like definitely just like a duck.
You know.
It was like a duck hunting boat, but
You're
it
just trying to stay hidden on the lake.
It was just like, yeah. I mean, it would literally water would get into it slowly, so you just as you were fishing, like bucket out water actively because it was actively sinking.
Was that like a
Let's
design
pretend.
flaw,
Yeah, that's a
or
mechanism of the boat. No, I have
it's
no
part
idea.
of the
yeah.
it's part of the
It's part of the
charm.
experience. It's the charm of Michigan. But no, yeah, it's funny every time we go back. always surprised that I always forget about motorboat noises. I'm like, oh right, it's actually.
That's why it's kind of nice to go in October.
Yeah, right.
Because the boats are starting
You
to
miss
move
some of
off
that insane
the
summer.
lakes.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You guys go back rather often too, right?
Oh yeah.
I see you post about little shows that you do up there sometimes, right?
Yeah, we're trying to make
once a year.
Yeah, we try to
Yeah.
get up there no matter what, and then we're trying to make, I think as active as last year, or the year before that, like a corridor up through, from Colorado, we've hit Nebraska, we hit Iowa, and then we've tried to do Chicago, and then up through Michigan to Traverse City, and kind of make that a frequented corridor, but we've yet to really solidify what that means for us. But we always go, no matter what, back home. That's where my mom still is, so it's always good to visit.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Do you think that you're a perhaps minor celebrity in Traverse City at this point? I mean, you have been in the newspaper, so.
We have. That was a big moment.
Hometown hero, Andrew
Hometown hero.
Sturtz.
It was funny.
He's back.
It was so wild because that was I was surprised to see that because that had been a venue I had played so often as a youth, and by that I mean like 16, and going on to years after that. But it was a pretty intense headline for what it was a pretty calm homecoming, and then the show that was mostly advertised was just fully canceled because it was outdoors.
It rained.
Yeah, and so it rained, and so it was like, well,
brutal.
And so it was funny. Most of that time we just spent inside. I was like greeting people that had come to see the show, but we're just now at like a nice restaurant eating.
You got your meet and greet for the.
Yeah, that's right.
For the
Yeah,
fans.
it was a VIP event. Yeah.
Right. So, Andrew, what's your chess rating?
Oh wow. Oh yeah, my chess rating. Totally know that. Let's just say I
This
don't.
was a pandemic hobby.
This was. Shout out John. Shout out Kelly. Who got me very much into chess.
It's a good thing to do during. you know, those times.
Yeah, you know, my chess rating, I never really got up to a standard I even would like to announce. I don't think it was ever good enough, but
You can just say you just played bots.
I felt like I was playing bots.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I went.
Bots can be real hard.
I tried, and yeah, they can be so hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They can be as hard as you want them to be.
I mean, that all started. It was funny. I remember when I first moved to Chicago with Sam, who I had moved in with, who played bass with me at that time, and we played chess so often to like figure out city life, and that was when it first started. That was when I was like,
That's how you figured out city life?
That's how I figured out city life.
Nice.
Yeah. Just from the beauty of chess. No, but then that was the moment I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. I like being beaten every single time at this game.
It can be a little rough
It's
at first,
it's a little tricky.
Yeah. But when you make that breakthrough and somebody that's beaten you 15 times finally gets their comeuppance, it's like.
I feel
wow.
at peace. I'm like, wow. Yeah, I mean that's more with Kelly, my brother-in-law, who's shot a lot of our videos. He actually made us a homemade chessboard from his own
beautiful.
wood shop, which is gorgeous.
As a board gamer, I think that's just something you have to get into to really like build your streak, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and I really enjoyed. It was definitely a strong I mean, I went through 8 hobbies. Probably more in the pandemic. There were many. Every month was a new hobby, but yeah, I still yearn to go back to play chess online, and then realize that I don't have any openings I like and lose very quickly.
Who has the time anymore to learn openings? You just yeet those little guys out there and see what happens.
I mean, I had the Amazon cart filled with chess books at one point, and I was like, don't do it. Delete them. You don't need to do this.
I'm shocked you deleted them.
Yeah. That was to impress you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've thrown out a lot of board games from my Amazon cart, but more importantly, Sturtz as its current incarnation, not the Andrew Sturtz trio.
Yeah.
How is it that it came to be? Was it something that kind of was born out of the ashes of the trio? Did you guys meet and decide like we gotta make cello and voice work together because it works really well together? But
yeah, it's kind of a funny. it's a funny concept that I think every musician kind of evolves from, where you want to get into music and you kind of don't know what you jump into. Some people are lucky enough to just hit the sound that they want, and for me, I just was going into electric guitar. I was trying to figure out do I want to play rockish kind of pop, acoustic, whatever. I didn't know what it was, and so I think a big part of this band that came to be was knowing that this instrumentation would make a lot more sense as a basis, and then build from that if we want to creatively, which is what's exciting, is we're so bare bones in a good way that it's kind of exciting to consider that stuff. But we came together in a great way. It's the music community of Boulder. I was singing jazz up with Will at No Name Bar, rest in peace. And then I actually met Jim, who was running open mics at Twisted Pine.
Ooh, back in those days.
Back in the old days. I was hitting that up every single week, so I was I want to see what I can do, and maybe play cooler venues and see what I could do. And so yeah, I just kind of got to know everyone that way when I first moved here, and then I met Cortland at a couple times. Cortland always gives me a lot of crap for ignoring her the first time, which is not true. I was starving.
I think it's true.
You love food so much that I would think that you'd understand that I needed to get a burrito right then and there. I wasn't ignoring you.
My friend was like, you two should meet. I think you'd really hit it off. And Andrew didn't look at me at all and was just like, I'm hungry. I need to go. And I was like, he kind of sucks. I don't know if we need to meet. But then we met again at our friend's album release, because I was playing cello on a couple of her songs and Andrew singing harmonies. And that time went better.
And I had eaten.
Yeah.
At that point.
It is actually pretty important.
It is. Thank you.
It is, but you could still say hi. It's nice to meet you.
Some people are better at it. Some people are really, they got that hanger.
That's why I run the merch table now.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I can't do it. Yeah, especially pre-show. Can't do it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So you guys released one full-length album so far, which I guess you could say lovingly referred to as Baby versus Mannequin.
Yes. Yeah. That was the original working title.
Really?
No.
You got me. I'm curious, where did that artwork come from? It's a beautiful photo, but what is the inspiration behind using it as the cover art?
It is it's interesting. I don't know who took the photo, but I can't remember the actual person, but a family member, someone in my direct family, took the photo of that's a picture of me looking up at the at the mannequin at some farm family get together. And so I had seen that photo in a photo album back in Traverse City, and I was like, wow, I think that this picture would be, I don't even want to post this picture because I think it's pretty cool. It's a very random and cool picture, and so I just
that makes the picture even more special, honestly.
Yeah, well, it was cool, and I just wanted to save that. So I had it in my phone for 2 or 3 years as we were getting into meshing as a band and being a band, and it was then Will, I think on a road trip, was finally pull that out, I think we could use that. I think we really could. It was just an old iPhone picture of a picture. But the graphic designer that we worked with was just so good at cleaning that up and not making it look so amateurish, I guess. And part of the charm is the amateurish nature of it. But
yeah, I'd say that it's got a really cool, distinctive sort of framing of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
I think it makes great merch as well.
Yeah.
You guys haven't commented on the shirt yet.
I
did comment on it when you walked out to our car.
You did?
You just didn't hear me.
I must have been hungry or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wow. Well, the album's title too, I kind of was curious. You've done this before. Is that sort of a reference to the fact that you guys have been performers for a long time and you kind of have a lot of confidence with it, or was it more something else that you were referencing?
Well, yeah, it's definitely a lyric that, so I remember we were leaving Eagle, and that's when our conversation really started. We were doing a small tour to the Western Slope, and we were driving back. We were we need to figure out a title for the album, and I think we didn't want to just relent.
I think as a whole band.
Yeah, as a whole band.
We fit all of ourselves into
which
a
was
car,
shocking,
which was really dangerous.
That was really
we're
dangerous.
Not going to do that again.
Yeah,
but
no.
Upright bass could kill
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
If it gets cuts loose and
Especially when you have to
Brainstorm.
take the headrest off.
Yeah. full head snap.
wow.
mode.
Yep.
But yeah, we went through a whole bunch of lyrics and we just went through all the songs together, trying to find interesting parts of it. And so we just settled on it's a lyric in Maddie's song that it's in the bridge and it ends the bridge, which is we just thought was a good thematic lyric for the songs that have been written for so long. They were just thematic, experiences that I've had, and kind of a reiteration of how many times I've played them and how many times I've seen the images of that, like what was written there. And I feel like you've done this before was a good moniker or name or theme for just the experience of that album, because those songs were a long time coming.
And I agree with the notion that it has this representation of the rest of the album, because I think that music, your guys' music in general, has this sort of wistful, nostalgic, very imagery driven sort of stuff going on, and I can feel that from you've done this before.
Yeah.
It's like a voice that kind of resonates something deeper there,
Yeah.
In fact, I was curious as to what song you guys would like to play first. If it was going to be off of the album, or if it was going to be perhaps a surprise, a debut.
Is that a surprise?
Perhaps.
What do you think?
Mayhaps.
What is the first song?
We could start with Birdsong.
Okay.
If you guys would like.
Yeah.
We don't have to start right away.
We can hop right in.
You wanna
Yeah.
have at it?
Sure.
Fantastic. Let's
Right
have
into
at it.
it's a new song of ours.
See your lyrics.
Oh, I can see them. Fresh lyrics. Here we are. Stuck inside the same view, living in my bed, pretending I can see it through the sheets they used to warm me up, but lately keep me colder. It's only been 2 years, feeling 5 years older, and you pull me out from under the thunder and rain, and you have always held the answer. You're the singer and the dancer too. Sifting through old photographs and sending calls to voicemail. These talking points of mine never felt so stale. No appointments, no commitments. I could probably make some crafted list of dreams. I should probably chase them, and you pull me out from under the thunder and rain, and you have always held the answer. You're the singer and the dancer too.
applause.
Thank
You earned it. That was really nice.
Thank you.
I have too much to say. Hold me out from under the thunder.
Pull me out from under the thunder and rain. Yeah.
From under the thunder and rain. I like that a lot.
Nice.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And there's also this interaction between the cello and the voice that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
There's sort of this, it feels like it's kind of sometimes supporting, sometimes like leading, sometimes kind of like blending in behind and like providing sort of like this harmony that's really, really nice. The whole thing works just so well, but you guys already know that.
Thank you. Well, that song is the song we wrote about just kind of, I think, being with each other and our own experiences during the pandemic. It was, I think it's like truly our first pandemic song that we, like, you know, I think there's always references to it in current songs because everyone's just done so much introspection that you could argue that every lyric after the pandemic is probably related in some way due to evolution from as a human through it. But that one was definitely more of a direct writing experience and about that and our experience.
So, good stuff. Did you have plans to eventually release that as a single, or are you going to save it for an album?
We might save that one for an album. We don't know yet. Yeah, we've got a lot of things building currently. It's the building months of of new songs. So
we almost have enough songs for another album. So
yeah,
that's exciting.
Look out!
Look out, world!
I'm scared.
Yeah,
I'm already kind of trembling a little bit. Yeah, you know, I went and I listened to your full-length album that is out right now, and I picked out a couple lyrics that are, I think, my favorites that kind of really represent that sort of wistful, nostalgic energy that is really special. And I think one of them is "Woke Up to 10 Missed Calls." That one is really good, especially since it just kind of bookmarks the end of the song. It's just like, it doesn't show up anywhere else. It's just like, like I'm waking up from like listening to the song and it's like, stress.
It's funny that that's a song I wrote about a friend of mine, Steven in Chicago, who had gone through a whole situation, you know, and I for a lot of songs like to write through the perspective of someone else, and so that one was really, you know, really interesting to me, because it was a lot of the drama around that was from a Halloween party, hence Carnival, and so a lot
and October Weekend.
And October Weekend, obviously. So yeah, that song was, you know, my idea of, you know, that's just it was such a dramatic piece of life that I don't think I hadn't really experienced like that, you know, like there's cheating involved and all this stuff, and it's very, you know, it's just very dramatic. And so I was like trying to envision what, you know, my perspective through all of that would be, and I think the 10 missed calls imagery was like probably what you just, like, you know, bitterly ignore those after something like that. And so I think that's kind of where that was born from.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating how you could take something so casual and mundane as a missed call and have it imply so much emotional impact, so much emotional reflection, kind of an appeal almost to, like, do you know what it feels like to have 10 missed calls? It's like a lot. It's the number between, like, when it goes past 3 is like things are getting crazy. Yeah. And then after like 10, it's like it doesn't even matter. You could go to 600 and it's still just as bad.
Right. Oh yeah. 10's the minimum, and then the I guess the only thing I could have made more impact is 10 voicemails left.
Yeah, voicemail full.
Yeah, voicemails left doesn't quite roll off the tongue.
Oh man, that's what I always say. How many voicemails do I have left on my phone?
Left.
So, you guys have obviously been around in the local Colorado scene as artists for a while and opened up for people, headlined for people. What are some other favorite artists that you guys have worked with that you feel like really represent sort of the same sort of energy that you guys put out, or alternatively, you've just really enjoyed working with? Yeah.
Well, I think we we have a very obvious one.
Heavy Diamond Ring.
Yeah. We love those guys.
I think everyone in our band has a crush on everyone in their band. And they say vice versa. So that one's always a really sweet pairing.
It's always a really fun collaboration, and it's you know it's almost a different sound, but it's not. It has this acoustic quality to it too that they can pull out, and I think it's just it's a good musical collaboration, but also like I just love everyone.
They're really wonderful people.
Yeah, great music.
Support them.
Do it.
Yeah.
I think we have a sincere love for Trout Steak Revival. We're just hanging out with Travis.
Love that name, by the way.
Yeah, it's a great name. And you know, Travis is a really good friend of ours. At this point, we have to always plan a board game.
His solo album is coming out soon too, and it's
also
amazing.
really good.
So
Yep.
good thing to check out.
Yep.
I get to run a really wonderful concert series on a farm in Boulder every summer. Well, this will be our second annual summer.
That's right.
So last summer was
Every
the first.
summer.
Every summer.
It's annual now.
Now
That's
it's
right.
now
Exactly.
it's every summer. But we do 2 concerts a month on the farm, and it's been a really wonderful way to showcase artists that I look up to, and get to hear them in a beautiful outdoor setting. So
Unless it rains, of course.
unless it rains,
Yeah.
and then we
Which can be
reschedule
problematic.
or put up a tent.
We got really lucky
Yeah.
this last summer.
Yeah.
Tents are cool.
Tents
Yeah.
are cool.
Yeah.
Tents are awesome.
What so farming. I was about to actually get into some of that
Oh
stuff.
boy.
Good transition.
You mentioned it, so here we are. You segued yourself into it.
Yeah,
I sure
that's right.
did.
You work on a farm.
I don't anymore.
Ah, but you're still a farm nerd. You like talking about farming stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your connection to that? How did you get into doing it?
Ooh, how did I get into it? I think I've always just kind of had an inherent interest in food systems, and I think music is one really beautiful way to connect to people and hear, you know, what they're going through and relate to that and have this like really beautiful human connection with someone. And I think that farming and growing food for someone or cooking for someone or sharing a meal with someone is kind of that similar vein for me.
That's really deep, actually. I like that. Making somebody a meal and making somebody like a song. Kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
Very similar sort of energy there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where that came from. And now I'm working for this wonderful nonprofit called Garden to Table and helping to manage. We work with a lot of the schools in Boulder Valley School District and help run their school gardens.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
Nice.
still involved.
Giving back to the community in that way too. Just
Yeah.
in general, working with the local. I mean, any sort of schools. When you work with a school, I feel like it's so fulfilling because you end up seeing, and generally meeting kids who like will be like, "This is so cool that you're like doing a project like this. Like, I want to learn more about that kind of stuff." And
Yes.
it's
Well, and
it'd be really
they
nice to see that growth.
Yeah, and we help provide a curriculum for the elementary schools too, to go out to the garden and actually interact with it. And right now I have 5,000 lettuce babies in the greenhouse because we're about to
That's a lot of babies.
so many little
That's a ton.
babies. But we're about to plant lettuce with the first graders, and then the second graders harvest it and do this big rainbow day thing in their cafeteria and try all the colors of lettuce. So it's a really fun way to still have that kind of food and community aspect.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I always ask this to everybody that comes through, and I had just gotten off the whole "who's your favorite artist in the local scene" sort of question. So, if you had a dream band that you were opening for, who would that be?
You wanna go?
Yes.
I can go.
You can go.
Mine would be Watch House,
Hmm.
Yeah.
formerly Mandolin Orange.
Oh, I've heard of those. I've heard of Mandolin Orange.
Yeah, they
I didn't
changed their
realize they
name
changed
to
their
Watch House. Yeah,
Yeah.
Cool. That would be a good fit, actually.
yeah, their music is so beautiful.
we love their stuff so much.
How about you, Andrew?
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Are you gonna say Led Zeppelin?
I was gonna say 2001 Christina Aguilera. No, I feel strongly about. I feel like I would love to play. Like my ideal opening would be like opening for a Nathaniel Rateliff solo project that's fully acoustic, because it's kind of where he had electric concepts there in his solo music. But if you haven't listened to Nathaniel Rateliff's solo stuff before The Night Sweats, it is very good. And was another reason I kind of moved to
Before
Colorado.
The Night Sweats.
Yeah.
It's evocative.
Great stuff. It's just so good. And but I think, you know, to get back to that kind of, he had a nice sad touch to his music that I really liked, and a lot of dynamics, and I really enjoyed the music he was making, and so I think that's kind of a dream opening in theory. But there's so many. That's hard. It's a hard question.
It is a tough question. That's why I like to ask it.
Yeah.
I'm out here asking the hard questions.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that you mentioned like these fully acoustic projects and stuff like that, because your instrumentation is really interesting, and I think even without anything else, you were talking about room for growth and all that, and typically most people see like having some form of percussion as part of the full idea of instrumentation. But I think that what you guys have got going on specifically with some of the steel string percussive elements that exist works remarkably well, because the cello is not an instrument that generally likes having these toms, these crash cymbals, it kind of just subtracts a lot of what's going on in terms of like that dynamic range that it can have. And I think that just having that little snap of like that finger hitting like the string when it's muted or something like that, totally kind of like fills out all of the percussive sort of needs that you guys have. But, you know, have you thought about adding a drummer?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny.
Played with a drummer before?
We haven't, as a band. I have played with the drummer.
Most of us played with the
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we did. Yeah. When we first started out, we actually tried playing with the drummer. We were like, we'll try to feel it out and see what happened. And I think, you know, it's funny. Will, I think just this last week brought up potentially collaborating with a drummer, and it's definitely something I think we're all open to. It's such a specific fit. You know, so it's someone that would kind of consider drumming more orchestrally, but with a standard kit, you know. And I think
I'm imagining like a cajon style kind of thing, but like a little bit more.
It's more like if there was like a timpani involved, and I think it's a ridiculous concept. But to harken back to Watch House reference, Watch House's drummer is basically would be like a perfect version of that. He plays so simply and orchestrally that it's something we'd easily consider, but yet to be discovered.
It takes time. Yeah. You guys have something really special, and finding somebody who fits into that puzzle pieces got to be really tricky.
It's tricky.
Yeah, definitely. So a couple other fun lyrics that I wrote down that I like.
Yeah.
I think one of these is a song that you guys might do.
Okay.
And I guess I should start by saying who's Emily. Is she okay?
It's a fictional. Yeah, she's a fictional person. She, that's going back to that storyline of my friend in Chicago. I was like, I need to apply a name here, and so I was like, she went through a populous list of names there, and I think that one was easy to fall on at the time, and that
flows off the tongue pretty well too.
Oh yeah, I mean there's all, you know, like
easy to rhyme with.
Exactly. There's there's so many. I feel like there's so many references and names in a lot of the songs I've written that are just hyperbole or just something that's not even a real concept in the storyline, but is, you know, the storyline that's referencing the story that's being referenced is real. So that's kind of, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like names and locations have been changed to protect the.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and it's like, and that's the creative freedom there, right? And but no, the fictional Emily she's doing great.
Nice.
Do you know?
No.
Okay.
Who knows?
The line was Emily is wasted again.
Yeah.
October weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, I mean, Halloween does tend to do things to people.
Oh yeah, and that whole scenario was like, it was just like that's all it was. It's just a Halloween night that was so drunk and disorderly.
as they tend to be.
Yeah.
So you a fan of the Red Wings?
Hey, yes, go Red Wings. First off, It's a tough rebuild right now.
Right.
But we trust in Iserman.
Oh boy.
No, I love the Red Wings. I did love them a lot more at the time. Big Datsuk fan at the time. And Zetterberg and that whole class. But that's what I grew up with in high school. So I can't say it. What's that?
The people want to know.
Yeah, I know. Well, yes. Yeah. I can't say I'm as consistent of a fan now. I want to be better. I feel like I always subscribe for a second to like ESPN, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch these right after work, and then I just don't. But I used to be consistent. I used to watch.
Wow.
Yeah. Not to brag.
That's okay. You guys have so much to brag about. Honestly, it's hard to.
Like my Red Wings fan.
Mostly the Red Wings.
Yeah.
Well, they're not in the best shape right now. But I am curious if you guys are going to do one of my favorite songs, or if.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all actually surprised. They're all favorites. Doesn't matter what you do.
No, I love this one's.
You got a tune for this one.
I do. I have to tune for this one. But yeah, this one's a favorite of mine.
You can talk a little bit.
Yeah. This one is a song. Speaking of other people, I want to shout out Greg Corcione. If you haven't, has a project called Corcione. Wow, did I steal that from Greg? Who knows? But Greg was a good friend who actually played drums at No Name when I was singing jazz there a lot of the time, and Frank Ocean and every other thing that we sang there.
Gotta love a little Frank.
You have to.
Mr. Ocean.
That's right. We all call him Mr. Ocean here. But that was it was a night of. It was funny. It's a song. I think I had, and I never knew like what I wanted to do with that, but I knew it sounded like fall. And so I went over to his place and was like, I've kind of got these words, but not really. We shared in some whiskey, and we got to the point where we believed that we should, with a shotgun mic, basically, or it's like a nice condenser, record the rain that was happening outside to make it more of a fall song. So this one it's funny. It's such a it was a song written more as like a environmental piece, like almost like if it were just guitar in the background of rain, really, right? It's like you stare out, you have nothing going on that day, you've got tea there, and you're just like, it's like every depressive songwriter's like situation. You're like, man, and it's like the coziest thing in the world. But it was a cool situation where we got to. He had a great recording setup for being, for having an amateur setup, and we wrote this song, and the words were kind of erratic, and they still are in some ways, but I really like this piece. It's always been a fun one, and features normally Cortland and Will on these instrumental parts. It's a fun one.
It's my favorite.
It's my favorite too.
Wow, guys. Okay, I think we're in tune.
Good.
Ready?
Play it right.
Cover me with ice, I won't run. Give me all you got. We'll fight until the sunset of this storm. Where you sit rise, I felt nothing like it did. Compromise the feelings we I was looking for the stairway to your mind that I have yet to find. Come back, I won't fight. You said I needed someone. You were kinda right. I know something's wrong. We were left with an earthquake, but we got along. Were you surprised? I felt nothing like you did. Compromise the feelings we go back, rewind, go back, rewind. I was looking for the stairway to your mind that I have left behind.
Wow, y'all. I am trying to hold my tears back right now. It's rough. It's hard out here. That I have so much to say about that song, but I really have to remark upon how much I love hearing it live. It's so much. With most good music and most good musicians, there's always something that's missing unless you're seeing it like right in front of you, and I feel very privileged to be sitting in this seat right now. Yeah, those cello hits, they feel like you're just punching me in the gut. It's like two uppercuts, like bam, bam, and it's funny because like you anticipate them once you've heard the song and you know that they're there. It's like, oh shit, here they come. But if you've never heard the song before, you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
It's definitely what feels like the emotional climax of the song, and that makes it so much more significant that it's also an instrumental climax.
Yeah.
Since so much of like what you guys do has so much vocals, like all the beautiful harmonies you guys do, like it like leads into this like extremely like almost violent kind of like part that has a lot of power behind it, you know. Right. So I would like to mention, since we've got about 10 minutes left, that if anybody's in the audience and would like to say hey or yeehaw, some yeehaws in the chat.
We only accept yeehaws, I thought.
Yeah, actually, that's true. But people can do whatever they want, and also they can ask questions. If you guys have any questions for Sturtz, feel free to chime in and say what's up.
Yeah.
Or yeehaw.
Or yeehaw.
Right.
With a question mark.
Yeehaw?
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
There's something feels very wrong. Some cowboy just had like an existential dilemma.
That's right.
Great. Okay, so would you guys like to play one more?
Sure. Yeah.
Let's rip right into it before I start crying.
What do you think?
I'm good with whatever.
We had talked about recess.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Sure.
Great. Another one about a friend.
Yeah, right? I will never experience anything, actually. It's all through my friends.
We could play one that's about you if you would like.
Birdsong was kind of about you guys.
Yeah, that's
true. So it's okay.
Oh, that's a long one.
That's a great yeehaw. Thank you. Not even any questions on that. They're certain about their ecos.
Okay. Yeah. You want to do recess?
Sure.
Let's do that.
I'll be the banjo.
This is a song. Well, this is a song that kind of features Traverse City. This is a song I wrote about for a friend who had someone he loved quite a lot. Who is Quarter Life Crisis about? Yeah, that is about me.
There's an Andrew Sturtz song.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking, Joe.
Yeah, I was
Joe.
25. That was true. I just wrote it as a, like, you know what, I'm 25 and depression's gonna, man, it must be only a 25-year-old thing. And then sadly I learned that it's actually just kind of consistent. So, but yeah, that song was, it's funny, I always bring that up in banter. I'm like, well, this song is called Quarter Life Crisis, but I'm like, 25 as a quarter life measure is pretty optimistic. So we'll see about that. Quarter life is probably like 20. We'll see.
We'll see.
Stay
That's how it
tuned.
goes.
Yeah. Shout out Joe, who played bass with us on that one. Okay. Yeah, this is a song I wrote for a friend in Traverse City, and Jim had finally gone there. I was like, I know.
This is Long Lake.
I know Long Lake,
Yeah.
which is like right next to my home. So here's a little Long Lake too. 1, 2, 3.
You're going away for such a long time off that Alaskan coastline. I take off my shirt and go to bed alone. And I reach for my cell phone just to see if you thought of me. I still go to Long Lake just to sit and recite. Is there what I needed? Confiding, relying on this old broken arm. It's reassured me from the start. Can I reach out to what you're up to? Do I just push through? I don't know the rules of recess. I don't wanna feel regret. I don't know the rules of recess. I'm sure you're doing quite fine with your independent mind. Your independent mind. If you can hear me, can you relieve me of this? Ooh, just say something. Let me know enough again. I need to move on.
surprised by how nice that chorus really just. I want to hear it like almost 4 or 5 times in a row.
I know.
And I don't know which part I want to sing when I hear it. They just like are so good together.
It's the regret of the song. It's probably the chorus is probably too short.
Just sing it 5 more times.
That's right. We just got to do it.
Put
Yeah.
that recess
It's
part
not been
on it.
recorded yet, so it's still a chance.
We still can.
That's right.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. So that brings me to some good closing points, actually. You guys are working on some recordings, working on some new music.
Yeah.
You've got some stuff that you've got planned out. Do you have any good shows coming up that people can come see you guys at, perhaps?
Yeah. We
Yes.
are playing the Magic Rat in Fort Collins
Yep.
Ooh, cool.
Should be fun.
on February 24th, I'm pretty sure. One that we're really excited for, we're playing the Mercury Cafe Ballroom in Denver.
Love that.
Yeah, with our friends Birds of Play. We're doing kind of a little mini tour with them. We're doing the Mercury Cafe Ballroom and then the Sheridan Opera House in Telluride. And then they converted a Masonic temple in Montrose into a music venue, so we're also playing there with them.
Cool.
Yeah, but the close one is in Denver on March 24th, so look out for tickets for that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
March. And Montrose, is that Colorado?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just more
Kind of
west
near my hometown
Western
of Grand
slope.
Junction.
Represent.
slope. Drove through there on the way back from Utah. That was fascinating.
Yes.
Getting the 70 all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
wild.
Changes a lot.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Very good. Do you guys have any special shout outs you'd like to make for any friends or for Joe? For any, parents part maybe in the chat, any yeehars?
Listen, Will and Jim,
Mm-hmm.
it's not okay you weren't here.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about that soon.
Hi, Joe.
You guys are great. I want to thank you again for
Yeah.
coming on the show. This
Thank you
has
for having
been
us.
Yeah, thank
Absolute
you.
pleasure. And, Pink Sofa Hour will be back next week, Saturday, 6 p.m. with Christopher Morse. This week has been phenomenal. It was my birthday yesterday, which made it a little extra bonus, but I wasn't going to shout myself
Happy
out,
birthday.
but
Happy
Thank
birthday!
you. Thank you. I will discuss that more some other time. But thanks again for coming. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Heartbreaking music. Punch to the gut.
Good.
Shot to the heart. Poke to the soul, perhaps.
Poke to the
Perhaps.
soul and you're to blame.
Yeah.
That's the, I think are the words.
But,
It's our next hit.
Yeah, cover hit.
You guys can.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you
I
just
think
take
so.
it. Just take it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have an excellent evening. Goodbye now.
Goodbye.